President Trump has launched a sweeping and unprecedented military operation targeting Venezuela's narco-terrorist networks, signaling a dramatic escalation in U.S. involvement in the region. This move marks his administration's most aggressive and direct action, yet against the embattled Maduro regime, which has long been accused of enabling drug trafficking and organized crime. Precision drone strikes have targeted and destroyed smuggling hubs and clandestine drug labs deep inside Venezuela's dense jungles, disrupting cartel operations at their source. At the same time, a powerful U.S. naval blockade now encircles the country's maritime borders, cutting off vital sea routes used by traffickers. The blockade, one of the largest and most ambitious since the Cold War era, aims to intercept drug shipments bound for the U.S., sealing off key trafficking routes and sending a clear message to criminal networks. This marks a sharp pivot from years of economic sanctions and diplomatic pressure to a strategy of direct military disruption, reflecting a new sense of urgency in Washington. The administration, frustrated by the relentless drug crisis and the resilience of the cartels, is betting that overwhelming force and sustained pressure will cripple the criminal networks and force Caracas to reconsider its stance. Early Pentagon reports claim significant success. High-value targets have been eliminated, major drug shipments seized, and cartel operations disrupted. Yet, the entrenched trafficking networks, often shielded by corrupt Venezuelan officials and sophisticated smuggling routes, will require more than just firepower to dismantle completely. The world now watches closely for Maduro's response, as the U.S. signals the end of passive containment and the beginning of a bold, active campaign of disruption. The stakes are high, not just for the drug trade, but for the future of U.S. policy in Latin America, regional stability, and the balance of power in the Western Hemisphere. As the U.S. tightens its naval grip, drug cartels are shifting to overland jungle routes through Venezuela, Colombia, and Brazil. These remote trails, hidden in dense rainforest, make interdiction far more difficult than at sea. Smugglers now use modified vehicles, pack animals, and human mules to evade detection. In response, the U.S. is ramping up surveillance, deploying drones and satellites to map smuggling corridors and pinpoint choke points. Closer cooperation with Colombia and Brazil is underway, with American support boosting their counter-narcotics forces. Corruption and instability remain obstacles, but the goal is a united front to squeeze the traffickers from all sides. The fight is a constant cat-and-mouse game, demanding flexibility and relentless pressure on both land and sea. Success hinges on sustaining this two-pronged assault, choking off Venezuela's illicit economy at every turn. The Trump administration has officially designated Tren de Aragua, a notorious Venezuelan gang, as a foreign terrorist organization. This unlocks powerful legal tools. Anyone aiding the group can now be prosecuted, and their assets frozen by the U.S. Treasury. Tren de Aragua, once a prison gang, now operates across South America, trafficking drugs, smuggling humans, and spreading violence. The designation puts them in the same category as ISIS and Al-Qaeda, signaling a zero-tolerance approach. Venezuela's collapse under Maduro has allowed such groups to thrive, filling the void left by a crumbling state. By targeting Tren de Aragua, the U.S. aims to disrupt a key pillar of Maduro's criminal ecosystem and send a warning to other regional governments. The message: the U.S. will dismantle transnational threats, with or without local cooperation. In a forceful White House address, President Trump accused Maduro's regime of running a narco state and issued a blunt ultimatum: end all support for drug trafficking or face escalating consequences. Trump vowed to use the full might of the U.S. military and law enforcement, warning that the recent strikes and blockade are just the beginning. He left all options on the table, hinting at possible direct intervention. Backed by years of indictments and intelligence, Trump framed the campaign as enforcing criminal charges against Venezuela's leadership. The message to traffickers: there will be no safe haven, on land, at sea, or in the presidential palace. The administration is betting that overwhelming force and legal pressure will fracture the regime's grip and disrupt the cartel's power. In a surprising twist, President Trump has also offered to negotiate directly with Maduro, on one condition: a peaceful exit and restoration of democracy. This dual-track strategy, maximum pressure with a diplomatic off-ramp, aims to make negotiation more appealing than confrontation. Critics warn talks could legitimize Maduro, or be used as a stalling tactic, while others see a diplomatic solution as the least risky path. The offer allows the U.S. to claim it's pursuing all options, not just military ones. Whether Maduro will accept remains uncertain. His regime has survived years of isolation and unrest. But the unprecedented U.S. military pressure may force a recalculation. The door to a diplomatic endgame is open, but the clock is ticking. Analysts widely agree that Trump's escalation will significantly disrupt cartel operations in the short term, with increased seizures and targeted strikes causing chaos and confusion within trafficking networks. These actions are likely to temporarily cripple the cartel's ability to move drugs efficiently, at least for now. However, history has repeatedly shown that cartels are highly adaptable. New smuggling routes and innovative methods will inevitably emerge as long as global demand remains high and Venezuela's internal crisis continues to fuel the trade. Some warn that the U.S. could be drawn into a costly, endless game of whack-a-mole, chasing ever-shifting targets, while others fear that the mounting pressure could backfire, rallying the Venezuelan military and political elite more tightly around Maduro's regime. The regime's survival may ultimately depend on whether its leaders feel more threatened by the prospect of U.S. intervention or by the possibility of change and dissent from within their own ranks. The visible U.S. military presence could embolden the opposition, giving them hope and momentum, or it could just as easily unify Maduro's supporters against what they see as foreign aggression. Experts stress that military force alone won't solve the crisis. A viable, long-term political strategy is absolutely essential to address the root causes and bring about lasting change. The key question remains: will this aggressive approach spark a genuine democratic transition in Venezuela, or will it instead push the region closer to instability and wider conflict? The world is watching closely, waiting for the answer, as the stakes for Venezuela and the entire region have never been higher. As the U.S. escalates in the Caribbean, Russia's President Putin is making ambiguous offers to negotiate over Ukraine, moves widely seen as strategic posturing, not genuine peace overtures. While talking peace, Putin threatens lightning-fast military action if Russia's interests are challenged, reinforcing Western distrust. Analysts view these gestures as attempts to divide NATO and buy time for Russia to consolidate gains. The West sees no real interest from Putin in respecting Ukraine's sovereignty. Russia's support for Maduro complicates the U.S. campaign in Venezuela. Any major American action could provoke a Russian response. Even as Moscow is bogged down in Ukraine, it may bolster Caracas to challenge the U.S. in its own hemisphere. The Kremlin's moves in Ukraine are a reminder of its disruptive reach worldwide. The U.S. must now navigate crises on two fronts, each with global implications. The Trump administration's bold and unprecedented actions in the Caribbean have sent a clear message to both allies and adversaries. At the same time, the ongoing standoff with Russia continues to escalate, drawing global attention and concern. These developments highlight a world facing increasingly complex, interconnected threats that cross borders and defy easy solutions. The U.S.-led crackdown on Venezuelan narco-terrorists is a key part of this new security landscape, and it is rapidly reshaping U.S. relations across the Western Hemisphere and even beyond, influencing diplomatic ties and regional alliances. The immediate goal is clear: protect American lives and communities from external threats by stopping the relentless flow of illegal drugs before they reach U.S. shores. But the long-term stakes are even higher. Regional stability and the credibility of U.S. leadership are on the line. In the coming weeks, the world will watch closely to see whether Maduro's regime finally cracks under pressure, or if the region instead slides toward deeper conflict and humanitarian crisis. Meanwhile, the ongoing Ukraine crisis continues to test U.S. resolve and the unity of the Western alliance as they stand together against Russian aggression. The outcome of these confrontations will shape the global balance of power for years, if not decades, to come. President Trump's approach, decisive, sometimes unilateral, and always controversial, aims to secure American interests, but the risks remain high. The choices made now, from the Caribbean to Eastern Europe and beyond, will ultimately define the future of global security and the world order. The world now waits, holding its breath, to see if this new era of confrontation will bring lasting change and stability, or unleash even greater chaos and uncertainty for generations to come.